Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, bringing you a brand new movie review, a spoiler-free review for one of the biggest films of the year. Of course, it is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, directed by Sam Raimi, returning to the genre. He last did a film in 2007 and his first film since Oz, the Great and Powerful. And this is a review I cannot wait to talk to you about in more detail. But as I said from the get-go, this is spoiler-free. If you're new to the channel, please not be worried. I'm not going to ruin anything, not any potential story points, cameos, character developments. You're absolutely in safe hands here viewing this. And as you can probably tell, I've just come back from a very fortunate screening of it tonight. So I've been very lucky to see this film early. I do still have tickets booked to see it later this week for a second time, and it is worth teeing up if you're new to the channel. Of course, we're a film channel. We do a lot of reviews, discussions. We've got fun game shows as well, which I'll speak about a little bit later, and loads of other stuff. So if you're new to our channel, you're curious about what we do, hit that subscribe button. A lot of stuff on the way. If you're a big fan of Marvel, if you're a fan of Doctor Strange, if you're a fan of Sam Raimi, we're going to have a massive spoiler discussion this Friday, the 6th of May, in the evening in the UK time. Myself and Tate will be live for that one, so that's where we'll be able to empty the system of everything we've seen and witnessed. But beforehand, this will have to do, and as I said, this is my spoiler-free review. And it is worth saying, before I actually get into the video, you can't really see it in the photo, today's the 20th anniversary of Spider-Man. Didn't get to do a video, obviously. We did a series last year on it, and there's not much to us we could do with so many things happening on the channel, so I will add this. It felt very special as a fan of those films, as a fan of Sam Raimi, seeing his new film 20 years to the day since one of the most important films of my life came out. So that was a really nice coincidental moment, and something that's just made today a little bit more special, if I'm being absolutely honest. But as I said, I'm here to talk about this film. And approaching it, I'm just going to go into some little thoughts beforehand. When this was announced, I really enjoyed the first Doctor Strange film. I'm going to say that. I was gutted Scott Derrickson left the project. And I was a bit nervous. I think he did some really cool stuff with Doctor Strange that we've not seen before. And then they announced that Sam Raimi was going to be doing Doctor Strange 2. At the time, it wasn't titled, of course. And I didn't need any of the selling points. Then obviously, as the years go by, all the news comes by, we're getting tidbits. We've got Danny Elfman's going to be doing the score. We've obviously, it was meant to be before No Way Home, so I was curious to see the story points of what could happen after or before. So this film's had a pretty insane production, and insane is a word I'm going to use a lot tonight, because if I'm going to give my overall thoughts of this film off one viewing, literally hours ago, insane is the word. Now, the use of insane is the real question here, because this film is going to be very, very interesting to see, and not how different people react to it, but this isn't going to be your standard Marvel film, and this is going to kind of where I'm going to segue into this review, really kickstarting it. From the opening sort of moments, you might think you're settled in for a bog standard Marvel experience, which they can be fun. We've had a lot of fun with those, and this is what you go to the cinema for. But this film then hits a point where you realise that, hold on, this is Sam Raimi making a Sam Raimi film in the MCU. And this is going to be, I think, the make or break for a lot of people today. And we're going to start the direction. So many people saying there's so many, is Raimiism's a term, but obviously with his horror background, we get so much horror stuff. And people, Kevin Feige was saying in the build-up, oh, this is the first horror film. I disagree with that, but I see where they're coming from. This is the most horror we've seen in the MCU. Obviously, it's still a 12A at the core of it, but they're able to do stuff with this that we've not seen in Marvel before, and it just makes it feel a little bit more fresh, and that's myself, and I do really enjoy these films, but there was just something about seeing it today where I just felt like I was actually watching a director taking hold of things and saying, this is my story, this is my film. Yes, it stars Doctor Strange, but this is mine, not Marvel's. And that's kind of how I echo my thoughts on this film. If you're sitting there expecting the 100, 200 cameos, you're expecting the bog standard third act big bombastic moment, there are so many things you could expect from a Marvel film, and this doesn't subvert any expectations, but what this film does, it just brings a little bit more life to it. It brings a bit of personality, and we've not had personality in such a while. And what's kind of embarrassing for me is that there are scenes when they're just walking around like New York, and unlike No Way Home, without taking an easy pot shot, I can tell that they're actually walking around a street. and it's not all CGI in a studio. And obviously, we do get a lot of CGI. Of course, it's a multiverse type thing. You're going to get CGI, but it's just little things where I just feel that the filmmaker has had more creative control of this film, and it all starts, stops, and ends with the director for me. And this is why I was so looking forward to this, because the trailers look fantastic in their own right. And I really enjoy Doctor Strange as a character. I really enjoyed the first film. I think Cumberbatch is superb in the role, but we've not had a film of his for 6 years by himself since the first one came out. You know, we've had him appear in so many other properties, but he is the most overdue sequel, I think, of any character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point in time. And if we're going to kind of segue that, I want to actually speak about Doctor Strange's character. You're not going to go wrong with Benedict Cumberbatch's performance. There's no point in sitting here saying, you know, it was terrible, it was bad. It was like, you know what you're going to get at Benedict. You're going to get a fantastic performance, and he absolutely delivers with that. But what I'll say is we got something unexpected. We got character development, and it's kind of embarrassing I'm saying that again for a film where he's in the title. We actually get to see development, but because we've not had any for so long, you could argue maybe something in Infinity War with Tony and the Stone, or you can obviously go back to his first one, but we actually got to see a different side to him in this, a side that they explore into his person, how he feels, what's made him into who he is. And I was kind of, you know, there's not too much of it, but I was really pleasantly surprised to get, you know, a Marvel character getting character development in their own film, as well as so many other things happening. And that's been a problem with so many of these films now, is you get a fantastic origin film, and then they kind of drop all that and focus on other characters throughout, and we just don't get that with this film. And of course, one character who everyone's desperate to speak about, and rightfully so, we have Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, played by Elizabeth Olsen. She absolutely steals the show. She is the best character in this film. She has the best performance in this film. You can tell she's having so much fun, and you can tell that Sam Raimi is having so much fun as a director with her. And what I kept making drawbacks to my screening was Spider-Man 2. And there's nothing similar in terms of the storyline, but with the villain arc, it's how do you develop a villain? And not, you know, you agree with them, but you can at least understand their perspective, their point of view. And I feel this film delves into that as much as it can. But what this film does have, similar, I guess, to Doc Ock, you get horror sequences. And Elizabeth Olsen is absolutely superb. Imagine like Carrie, sort of in the MCU. That's a really, I hate that comparison, but I'm going to leave it in anyway. It's so out there, but it's been built up to at this point in time. We've seen her in her films, we've seen WandaVision, and she's never had the chance to shine on the big screen in cinemas for people to see. And this is the film where we get it, and she is superb throughout. I want to see more of her. If we're going to get her back for more films, would she ever get her own film? Obviously, she had WandaVision, which I think is still the best Disney show. Moon Knight finale is out today, so there may be some competition there. But it's just really exciting to see her in this, and I think that's something really important, is that we don't get character development anymore, and having that in a villain is really important to this film and how it works. You know, there's other things to take into account. And as well as that, I've got to talk about America Chavez as well, who's come into this film. I haven't seen the actress in anything before. I really enjoyed her character. Again, it's bringing in a new character. She gets character development as well, and I really enjoy the little bits we get from her. She has her own complete character arc. She's got great chemistry with Doctor Strange. And again, if this is someone that's going to come back in the future, I'm absolutely fine with that. But this film delivers on character front. It's something, again, I didn't expect, because it's been advertised in such a way where we're literally just going to get a Sam Raimi film, or we're going to get this multiversal epic adventure. And speaking of that, I'm going to talk about the runtime very quickly. This film clocks in at 2 hours and 6 minutes, and is earned. I know we've had a lot of long films recently, and listen, I love a long film. You know, I love stuff like Dune. I'm happy to see this film sort of 3-4 times again, so many of us, but you can't go wrong with a good, you know, I say 2 hours 6 minutes, that includes credits. So, you know, you're really looking at about 1:55 maybe, and it just flows. And it's like the Spider-Man films of old. They flow so well, and I think just Raimi knows how to craft that 2 hour journey. And I know that the Evil Dead films clock in about 1 hour 25 each as well. He never wastes a minute. We don't get over elongated scenes or just people nonsensically talking. Every scene in this film feels important to it, and what this is then able to do is it's able to use those scenes to then push the film forward, which is such a basic concept which people forget about. It's not about chucking in cameos. It's not about pleasing certain people left, right and centre. It's about making a film on the characters you have. And for a film that's titled Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we get delivered on all of those fronts. We're going to talk about Danny Elfman as well. Now, I kind of mocked his Justice League squad quite a bit in the past on the channel. You might be familiar with that. And I was kind of intrigued to see Danny Elfman in this. You know, what Danny Elfman are we going to get? Because I think he's really hot and cold as a composer. I really like some of his work, and some of his work just kind of drifts to me personally. and I really enjoyed his score to this. Again, you know, Michael Giacchino did the original Doctor Strange theme. Obviously, he didn't come back for this. I was a little bit gutted, I will say, but Danny Elfman's really good in this. And there's a scene in this film which I think people will be speaking about for quite a while, where music is the focal point of the scene. If you're watching this in the future, it's in the film, you know exactly what scene that is, but it's really great to have a soundtrack used in a completely different environment to what some films would choose to do, especially on certain set pieces, which I'm more than happy to say on this. So do keep an eye out for that. It's impossible to notice it, but that's one of my favourite scenes from the film. Involves the Danny Elfman score being used to its absolute most insane. And again, I'm dropping that word insane again. So yeah, it's been a really tricky film to talk about because I can't really go into the specifics of the plot and the other stuff because it is just going to wobble out, and I don't want to say anything that's going to spoil it for people. So I will say this film is not perfect. I had a really fun time watching it today, but there are some story issues. CGI looks bad at times, not too bad throughout, and you know, this is a film primarily that has those moments, but you know, that sometimes you'll be on a green screen and it's just so obvious, and not that it takes me out too much, but it sometimes, you know, it makes me think that, come on, like, was this rushed for time? You know, we heard about all the reshoots over the last few months as well, and for a film that's had the production issues this one has, feels so much better than what you would think. You know, you read those reports where, oh, Cumberbatch was shooting it in LA or in London, vice versa, via Skype, across COVID, even recently. Everything that chopped and changed, it felt very natural. And one thing people don't speak about is that this film was due to come out before Spider-Man. I'm imagining this film got butchered when they had to, you know, realign it. And it's the same with No Way Home. There's some really obvious moments in No Way Home where you know that it was meant to be Doctor Strange first. And it's the same with this. Certain things don't feel fully closed or opened, and some of the concepts aren't as fully explored. And you know, in a parallel world, you know, this comes out first, and would it made any difference? Absolutely not. I had a really fun time with this, and as I said, Sam Raimi's back on the big screen. You've got a fantastic performance in Benedict Cumberbatch. You've got, you know, an A-lister who absolutely, I think, really enjoys doing these films, and he said in interviews this week that, you know, being Doctor Strange enables him to get funding for smaller films, which I really appreciate as well, because he does do a lot of dramas, a lot of smaller films that people don't see, which they really should. So I don't really do score rankings, but I'm not going to for this, but this is one where I think, go to the cinema, go in with an open mind. You're not getting a full Sam Raimi film in the sense that it's him off scale. You know, this is his, no one's telling him what to do. I feel like you get a lot of that. And in the same way, counterbalancing, you get Marvel. This doesn't feel like a typical Marvel film. And it never feels like he's had to tick 100 boxes of what they normally want. I feel that he's the most free of all the directors of the last few years to take their own approach to a Marvel film. I think Sam Raimi's done. Now, does it work? That's the big question. And that's why I've been sort of very cautious of this review today, because I said I had a lot of fun with this, but I think there are some glaring issues. And I'm seeing it again this Thursday for a rewatch, taking a little bit more. You know, you'll be able to notice a couple of other things that do and don't work, but 100%, you know, if you're watching this, you're curious about the film, go and see it. See it at the cinema. It's worth seeing on the big screen, just for Elizabeth Olsen alone, let alone some of the amazing talent in hand. So that's going to round out for my short, spoiler-free review on Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I really hope you enjoyed it. It's a very tough review to do, especially when you've only seen the film hours ago. Obviously, you know, without getting into the Marvel side of things, but with the spoilers for Eternals through press screenings, you can see they've been very, very tight on this. I know this film had a lot of leaks, which was very weird to read this week, and I've managed to avoid all of them. I'm very fortunate in that respect. But this is one I think people will be talking about for many different reasons. It might not please you. You might get a lot of fun from it. You might think, what on earth am I watching? But that's the kind of conversation you want, as long as it's all done in good faith rather than the psychotic stuff. So that is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, out in UK cinemas this Thursday, the 5th of May, America Friday, the 6th of May. As I said, join us for our spoiler review this Friday evening. We'll be live on the channel. We'll get your comments coming on, because we love chatting films with you all. That's why we do this, and we're very fortunate to get these screens to go to these events. And we don't do that without your support. We're not able to get these opportunities without your support. So, you know, just as a whole, a massive thank you to everyone for this. It was really great to be at a Marvel screening tonight. And also, I hope you've enjoyed this video. As I said, hit the like button, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. We've got our social medias as well. Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. Links to public in the description below. But yeah, what else is happening on the channel? A lot's happening on the channel. We've got Star Wars Month kickstarting. This video is going up on Wednesday the 4th of May, which is Star Wars Day. How do we celebrate Star Wars Day? Not just with a Doctor Strange review, with a massive, massive Star Wars Top 10 ranking. That's going to be premiering this evening UK time. We've got some fantastic people joining us on there. We've got Proaxium, who's Star Wars channel may be familiar with, Blue Bantha Milk that's been with us before. We've got myself, Charlie, Tate, Tom, Theo, Dave, Phil, Sam, so many other fantastic people that took time out to be involved in this video, so please do get the chance to see that. We're building our way towards Kenobi, but it is May the 4th, it is the time to celebrate the Star Wars film, so join us, May the 4th, 8 PM, Star Wars Top 10 ranking video, and I cannot wait to see you there. Thank you all for watching.